أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Tonight, inshallah, we'll have a new chapter, which is first episode in the chapter of the spider. Al-Ankabut. Al-Ankabut in Arabic means the spider. And as you know, this chapter, it's a Mecca chapter. يعني means the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam received it while he was at Mecca, the city of Mecca. It's number 29 in the Holy Quran, this chapter, and it's 69 verses. 69 verses. The spider means Al-Ankabut. Al-Ankabut in Arabic means the spider in English. As usual, we talk about every time, the way I make my Tafsir Nur al-Bayan, about Hidayat al-Surah. What is Hidayat al-Surah? The merits of the chapter. Merits of the chapter means the main thing the surah talks about, the main point. And all the stories, whatever the surah's verse is talking about, it's serving certain point, which is the main purpose of the surah. Let's talk about first ayah here, but I have a title for this ayat from verse number 1 to verse number 9. I have a title for this ayat in the beginning verses after saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Each chapter in the Holy Quran starts with this, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, except Surah At-Tawbah, and Allah repeated the same Basmala, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim twice in Surah An-Naml, the chapter of the bees. We explained it already. إنه من سليمان وإنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I have a title here, the title saying Allah's wisdom in testing people and rewarding the winners. Allah is so wise to examine people, to test them. I'm going to tell you why. Why Allah is examining us. Examining you in what? Sometimes with poverty, sickness, you've been defeated, somebody is oppressing you, you've been examined in your Islam and your Iman and your faith, in your life in general. Allah is examining us. Why? There is a wisdom behind that. And that happened to the followers of the prophets and messengers, and the prophets and messengers themselves. They've been examined. طيب, let's see. First verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Alif Lam Mim. Alif, it's a letter. Lam, second letter. Mim, the third letter. Alif Lam Mim. It was mentioned before in the chapter of Al-Baqarah about the separate letters at the beginning of the chapter. Let me explain this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they call it al-huruf al-muqatta'a, that separated letters. Allah started some surahs with these separated letters, or surah al-Quran in general, with these separated letters. And when Allah is repeating these separated letters in the beginning of the surah, He's telling us somehow, understand, you repeat it too. Because Allah repeated, we have to repeat it. Why? There is some wisdom behind that and secret. Allah knows about it. If Allah repeats something, means He's telling us in different way, you repeat it too. Alif Lam Mim, Ha Mim, Ayn Sin Qaf, Kaf Ha Ya Ayn Sad. I explained it in the last chapter, which is Al-Qasas, very well. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He make it in the surah of the Quran that separated letters in the beginning of the surah, the chapter. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, don't forget about it, these separated letters. Put it in your mind. For example, any surah in the Quran started with letter Ta, like Taha, Tasin, Mim, for example. Any surah started with letter Ta in the whole entire Quran means it's telling you the story of Prophet Musa in the beginning of the surah. This is a key now. I'm giving you a key. What is the key? Any chapter started with letter Ta, like Taha, Tasim, Mim, like that, means Allah started with Prophet Musa's stories in the beginning of the surah. You have to know it like that. And any surah started with Ha-Mim, like Al-Hawamim, who have 7 surahs, this is called Al-Hawamim. It started with Ha-Mim, these separated letters in the Quran. Means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after that, he gives qasam, means Allah swore by the Holy Quran. They said, تنزيل الكتاب العزيز من العزيز الحكيم وتنزيل الكتاب من الله العزيز الحكيم. means Allah swear. In Hamim means Allah swear by the Quran in the beginning. He mentioned the whole Quran. Also, when you see in surah started like this surah, for example, this chapter, with Alif Lam Mim, here means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the beginning of His creation, the middle, and the Sharia, or the end of the Tashri'at and the Nihaya. Like Surah Al-Baqarah, for example, started with the creation of Adam and the Iblis and the story, and Allah talks about the rules and the verdicts and all the ibadat in Surah Al-Baqarah in the beginning, and He's giving you the end of the surah. طيب. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we talk about these separated letters in the beginning of the Quran, the surah of the Quran, we have to understand Al-Quran, when Allah sent it, He built it up on a continuation. يعني a continuation. If you read from Surah Al-Fatiha, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and if you're able to, and you will never gonna be able to do that, to continue to finish the whole Quran in one breath, finish it to Surah Al-Nas, but you cannot do that. That's why, for example, he said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. continue. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، قل أعوذ برب الناس. إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, for example. فالقرآن Allah sent it as if you're going to read it all together in one breath, but you cannot do it. So when we stop because we don't have enough breath. That's why you stop and you continue. But you have to know as a reciter when you stop and when you start, because the meaning can change. That's why the scholars, they put the stop signs in the Quran. When you stop, when you start, otherwise you don't know how to stop, and you have to know as a qari, as a reciter. But anyway, but al-huruf al-muqatta'ah, the separated letters in the beginning of the Quran, you cannot read it and you continue, because it's a last letter of it is silent. You have to stop. Alif Lam Mim, and you have to stop. Ha Mim, and you have to stop. Taha Yasin, stop. Noon, stop. See, you have to stop with these separated letters. But the whole entire Quran, read it all. Read it all. طيب, anyway, this little idea about Alif Lam Mim, and this, subhanallah, what the miracles of these separated letters is the beginning of the Quran. And Allah repeated for us, and He wants us to repeat it too. Means Alif Lam Mim, you read Alif Lam Mim, it's the same three letters. But in Surah Al-Inshirah, you read it Alam Nashrah Laka Sadrak. Why did not say Alif Lam Mim Nashrah Laka Sadrak? See? You have to take it as is, the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent it to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. That's why Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, when he mentioned the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, لا أقول ألف لام ميم حرف. I'm not saying Alif Lam Mim, it's one letter. But Alif, it's a letter. Lam, it's a letter. And Mim, it's a letter. Means you read three letters. With each one, you're going to get 10 hasana, 10 good reward. 10 hasanat, good deeds. Alif Lam Mim means 30 letters, 30 hasana, good deeds. When we say Alif Lam Mim, see? It is not just one letter. That's why this is about the first verse of Surah Al-Ankabut, the chapter of the spider tonight. Let's go to second verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أحسب الناس أن يتركوا أن يقولوا آمنا وهم لا يفتنون. Look at this ayah, جماعة. And inshallah, I promise you, again, this second verse in Surah Al-Ankabut, the chapter of the spider, I'm gonna make it one time khutbah Jumaa. It's a khutbah. 45 minutes, 1 hour, I can talk about this ayah. That's this ayah. But listen, because it's very important. I make lecture in Arabic about this ayah tonight. When I prepare it, I make it in Arabic in TikTok. I speak in Arabic about this for like 15 minutes. But let's go details now. The meaning of this verse. Did people think that they would say, we believe? It's not easy to say, I believe. That's because you said it with your tongue. Easy, I believe. That's it. We believe. Again. Did people, Allah is asking, did people think that they would say, we believe and we will not test their faith strength with hardships? Do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not examine you because you are a mu'min and you are a Muslim? You have to be examined. You have to be tested. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that. Let's go talk about this. Ahasiba means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like what he said, ahasiba means did people think? Hasiba means think. Tadhun. Do you think that you're going to say, I am a Muslim, I am a mu'min, I am a believer, and Allah will not examine you? No. Allah will examine you. The answer is yes, Allah will examine you because you are a Muslim. Nowadays, you see, like Muslims around the world, they've been defeated, they've been crying, their enemy, they are doing this, and you see somebody is dying with cancer in the hospital. Why Allah is doing this to the people? Allah is examining you. Look to the people before you. What happened to the followers of Moses, Prophet Moses? Look, what happened to Jesus, the Prophet of Allah, the messenger of Allah? He's not the son of Allah, the messenger of Allah. What happened to Prophet Muhammad and his followers? They've been examined. They used to cry. They used to kill them in the streets of Mecca, torture them in the streets of Mecca. And they migrated 3 times, twice to Abyssinia and 1 time to Medina, as I explained to you yesterday. For Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you are a Muslim, you have to be in fitna, trial, temptation, killing, examined, tasted, because you are a Muslim. Why? The question why, I have the answer. Why Allah is doing that to us? Why Allah did that to the Sahaba, the Prophet Muhammad's companion, and to the Prophet Muhammad himself? While Allah loves Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam so much, he's the most beloved to Allah. And these disbelievers at Mecca, idolaters, they beat him up. They beat Rasulullah up with their hands. They put the intestines of the camel, the filth, above his shoulder while he was praying. They accused him and his wife Aisha. They accused the Sahaba. They tortured them. Bilal ibn Rabah, they put big rock above his chest in the streets of Mecca, the desert. They killed Sumayya, first murder in Islam, and her husband, Yasir. Too many Sahaba, they've been tortured in the streets of Mecca. They escaped. They take their properties. Subhanallah. Why? Allah examined them. Why? The question, why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He wanted to test your faith. And He said, the one who's going to carry my religion, like the Prophet and his companion, they have to be strong enough as believers. Their faith must be strong to carry my message to deliver to the all mankind. I don't need weak ones. If your iman, your faith is weak, that's why I'll examine you to see, are you weak? Are your iman strong or not? If your iman is strong, I'm going to give you too many examples now. Some of them, when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah took him to two of his journeys to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa and up to the 7th heaven, and he came back in the same night. Some Muslims, they said, I don't need this Islam. How? Doesn't work in my mind. Doesn't make sense. But Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, if Rasulullah said, I believe him. Because already I believed in him in something further than that. What is the further than that? A risala, the message itself. See? Some people, when Allah Azza wa Jal gives Rasulullah order to change its salah from Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa's direction to Mecca's direction, some Muslims, they change their deen. They quit. Every day Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gonna take us to different direction. Allah is examining your iman. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal, when He gave you, He's examining you by poverty, sickness, enemy, somebody accusing you, somebody torturing you, being defeated, or whatever, sickness, anything. Allah is examining your faith. Look at the Prophet Sayyidina Ayyub, Job. He was in his sickness. He was a prophet in his sickness for 18 years. He lost his family, his wives, his properties. 18. Why? Allah is examining him. Allah want to tell us, the one He is carrying my deen, my da'wah, my message, they must be strong enough to carry it. I don't need the weak ones. That's why He's examining us. Tayyib. It's a big responsibility. That's why when Rasulullah, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, called the people of Mecca and he said, guys, say La ilaha illallah, you will be successful. Believe in the oneness of Allah. They left him. They did not believe in him. The chiefs of Mecca. Why? Because these people, they were smart. they recognized the responsibility of La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah means taklif, means you have to pray, no adultery, no fornication, no alcohol. No. Islam is controlling you. See? Because this is a taklif. It's the orders of Allah, verdicts, revelation. It is not a joke. That's why they said, no. And you want this master man to be equal to this slave man because of Islam? No, we don't need it. We don't need it. That's why we have to understand that. Otherwise, they will accept it. And La ilaha illallah, its requirement means what? La muta'a illallah. You must obey Allah. La ilaha illallah means there is no one deserve to be worshipped except Allah alone. Allah is the oneness of God. Allah is only the creator. You have to worship Him alone. That's why these people, they rejected Islam and the Iman because they wanted to stay in their authority, Sulta al-Zamaniya wal-Makaniya. Yes, they used to have like big honor and strong authority, slaves, somebody, they put them down. If Islam comes, all will be equal. That's why we are equal here. Nobody better than anybody. Black and white, rich and poor, we are all equal. Nobody's better than anybody. We are Muslims, that's it. Islam saying you are the same like this. No, these people of Mecca before Islam, they used to make masters, slaves, maids, whatever. They used to put people in categories. But that's why they rejected. They said, no, we will not say La ilaha illallah because we cannot, we know for La ilaha illallah, it's responsibilities, too many responsibilities. That's why we don't need it. No riba, no alcohol, no slavery, no zina, fornication, adultery. No, too many things. That's why anybody can say with his tongue, I believe. But if you tell me I believe or I tell you I believe, might be you're honest or you're a liar. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that. But when you will be examined, Allah will test you. Now I can see your honesty. It's very important to understand that. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ, and will not be tested, their iman will be tested with hardships. That's why you have to understand that. Allah said in Surah Al-Hajj, the chapter of Al-Hajj, verse number 11, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَعْبُدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى حَرْفٍ فَإِنْ أَصَابَهُ خَيْرٌ اطْمَأَنَّ بِهِ وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ فِتْنَةٌ انقلب على وجهه خسر الدنيا والآخرة. ذلك هو الخسران المبين. Some people, they worship God like someone is standing on an edge. If God gives him prosperity and the easy life and all of that, oh, God, I love you so much. When he will face or he's facing hardship or any problem, he quit Islam. I don't need this God. This is what they think. Allah said, no. These people, they're gonna lose in this world of life and in the hereafter. If you worship Allah, don't be in the gray area. To worship Allah while you are standing on an edge. Imagine if somebody walking here and this edge like this. Anyway, he can fail. No. You have to be firm, steadfast in your iman like a mountain. Strong faith. And don't worship Allah while you are in the gray area. Might be yes or no. Allah doesn't like this. Don't examine Allah. He's Allah. He's a creator. He's the one He created you. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, and He gave us this. Sometimes as I talk about the incidents of Al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, to me, some Muslims, they quit Islam. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, no. If Rasulullah said it, that he went up to the seven heavens and he went to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa in Palestine and he came back in the part of the night, I believe in him. Why? Because look at this in Arabic. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده من المسجد الأقصى من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه السميع البصير. Now, did Rasulullah ﷺ went to do these two journeys by himself? No. Allah, the one who took him through Jibreel, right? Means Rasulullah did not go by himself. If you tell me Rasulullah was going by himself, I will not believe. But Allah, Subhana alladhi asra bi'abdihi, Allah, the one who took him. Can you talk about Allah's capability? Allah, His capability has no limits because He's Allah, He's capable. He can do anything. He can do anything. طيب. If you tell me somebody is is taking his little child, little girl, and he said, I take my child and I went up to the top of the mountain of Himalaya, for example. I'm gonna say, man, you're a liar. How can this little kid can go up to this mountain, Himalaya or Everest or whatever? You're lying. I can say yes because you're a little child. How can you go up to this mountain? Because he's going by himself. Sometimes you see the little child, he can something like 20 pounds or 30 pounds, take it and move it to this masjid right there. Maybe he wants like 10 times to carry little by little. But you can carry it in one hand and you take it like this, right? But each one of us according to his capability. But can you talk about the capability of Allah? Allah is capable. And Allah, his capability has no limit. Who took Rasulullah to these two journeys? Allah. Subhana alladhi asra bi'abidihi. Allah, the one who took Rasulullah. But don't tell me I still have doubt. I have no doubt. You see, a man, if he's working for the electricity or the power company here, they tell him, okay, we need you to turn all the streets light on. And the sun, after sunset, with one, just like this, switch. He can switch like this, all the city will be full of light, right? Just with one. But a human can do that. What about Allah can do it? The sun comes, sunrise, subhanAllah, for all the dunya, by order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, for Allah, anyway, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable, Azza wa Jal, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And al-ibtila, to be tested, it's a way of Allah Azza wa Jal. Too many ayat in the Quran talks about that. For example, Surah Al-Baqarah, a chapter of the cow, verse 155, Allah said, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Allah said, we shall test you with a little bit of what? Fear, hunger, loss of fruits and wealth and lives. But O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give glad tidings to those who are patient. Okay, means Allah will test us. He's testing us. Said in Surah Muhammad, verse number 31, chapter of Muhammad. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. Allah said, indeed we shall test you حَتَّى نَعْلَمَ الْمُجَاهِدِينَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّابِرِينَ وَنَبْلُوَ أَخْبَرَكُمْ. We shall test you until we see those who are struggling in the way of Allah and those who are patient. And they said in Surah Al-Imran, the chapter of Al-Imran, verse 142, أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةِ وَلَمَّا يَعْلَمِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا مِنْكُمْ. Do you think you're going to enter Jannah while Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not test you and examine you and to see who struggle more for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Jannah is not free, it's not easy. So that's why very important. Al-ibtila, to be tested, it is not a problem. It is something good. But the problem is the result of the test, right? Like that student, he's studying and they give him the exam. They examine him, right? The exam is not a problem. The problem is the result. Some of them they fail, some of them they pass. The same thing. Allah is examining us. But the problem, some people will go to hellfire and some people will go to paradise. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. And the fitna, يفتنون مأخوذة من فتنة الذهب. When you have some gold and this gold is not pure 100%. You have to fire it very well until all the dirty stuff will go away and the gold will be very pure. That's fitna like this. Allah purifying us through this fitna. And I make a lecture about the benefits. It is on my YouTube channel about why does Allah test us? Why? Why does Allah test us? Maybe to erase, to wipe your sin away from you by this test or exam, by sickness, poverty, whatever hardship. Maybe because He will raise your rank in paradise. Maybe because Allah examine your faith. Maybe because Allah wants you to come close to Him. See? And that's why الأنبياء كانوا أشد الناس ابتلاء. The prophets, they were the most with this fitna. Allah examined them the most, the prophets of Allah and the messengers of Allah. وَالْأَمْثَلْ فَالْأَمْثَلْ. That's why we have to understand this. We have to be patient, and when Allah examine us, Allah will see who gonna be honest or not. Maybe gonna say, doesn't Allah know who gonna be in Jannah and hellfire? He knows. Doesn't Allah knows, subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is honest and who is liar amongst us? He knows. The way he's examining us. I'm gonna give you the example. Subhanallah, no time. Okay. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving, is examining us for a reason. For example, you have the teacher and his students. He's teaching like 30 students and he must make an exam for them. If I ask you, the teacher, do you know from these 30 students who gonna pass or who gonna fail? He said, I know everyone. I know who gonna pass and I know. So why you examine them first? Why you examine them? If you know who gonna pass and he said, might be because the one who gonna fail, he's gonna be a big failure. He's gonna tell me why I did not pass your test, the exam. Why I did not pass it? He's gonna say, because you are a big failure. And I know you're gonna fail from the beginning. And they said, I make this exam because I want you to believe yourself that you are kharban. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing that. Allah knows who's gonna pass it or not. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows everything. But why Allah examining us? Because in the day of judgment, He's putting you this, your amal, your deeds and whatever, and you cannot deny it. And kharban already. That's why you are a big failure. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I will finish with this 2 seconds. Verse number 3, وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ فَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَيَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. We'll finish with this ayah in Surat Al-Ankabut, chapter of the spider. And indeed we have tested nations before them with hardships. Before them, before who? Before the Sahaba. Before the Sahaba of Rasulullah. Then Allah will surely bring to light those who are true in their faith. Because those who are fake in their faith, they're gonna fail and they're gonna quit Islam. Like after Al-Isra wal Mi'raj, some Muslims they quit. After changing the Qibla from Masjid Al-Aqsa to Al-Kaaba, some Muslims they quit. Murtaddu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He examines us, He knows who is really strong in his iman or not, or those who are lying and those who are liars or hypocrites. This ayah, as we said, Sahabat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they've been tortured. They're being kicked out from their houses, homes, and cities. And they used to beat them up. And they used to put, like Bilal ibn Rabah, they put big rock above his chest and with the hot sand in Mecca. And they used to beat him up. They killed Sumayya. And they killed Yasir, her husband. They tortured Ammar, the son. Khabbab ibn al-Arat. Too many of the Sahaba, they've been tortured. They killed them in the streets of Mecca. And subhanAllah, even Khabbab ibn al-Arat, he found Rasulullah taking a nap around the Kaaba. He said, Ya Rasulullah, ala tastansir Allah lana? Why did not ask Allah for us, Ya Rasulullah? And the Rasul has said, Khabbab, people before you, they used to make a hole and they used to put a man and they used to comb his flesh from his bones. He never returned back to disbelief. And he said, Ya Khabbab, listen, they used to let the man stand and they used to put the saw in his head and they used to make him two pieces. And the Prophet Zechariah, they saw him, they shaved the head of his son, Prophet John. Yeah, see, why you are, be patient, man. Be patient. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them this ayah. How people, they've been tested before the Sahaba with hardship. And Allah said, the nations before, for example, Bani Israel, the children of Jacob, Bani Israel, with Pharaoh, the Pharaoh. And I read that in Surah Al-Qasas to you. Bani Israel, they faced hardship more or the Sahaba? La, Bani Israel, not the Sahaba. You know what Pharaoh, I explained that to you in Surah Al-Qasas, the chapter of the narrative. They faced a lot of problems. Sayyidina Musa too. More than even the Sahaba. You know, Sahaba, they escaped to Abyssinia, they escaped to Medina. Abyssinia, the land of security, Ard al-Amn. And in Medina, the land of Iman. Aywa. And that's why Rasulullah said, Ya Rab, I will be out from the most beloved city to me, which is Mecca, and put me in the most beloved city to you, which is Medina. To Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah loves Medina even more than Mecca. That's why he sent Rasulullah there, the land of the faith. And the Abyssinia, the land of security. Sahaba, they went there. I said that yesterday. That's why, ya Jama'ah, if you will be examined, I see some Muslims, they are crying. And Surah Al-Ankabut talks about fitna, the hardship. All the surah, this is the main point, column of the surah. Hardship. And it's a Makkiyah, Makki chapter. Some Muslim nowadays, and they consider the time of the Muslimin nowadays like the time of Mecca before. Our iman is still sukkar khafif, very light sugar, you know. Subhanallah. So that's why some Muslim nowadays, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, crying everywhere. Why Muslims have been defeated here? Muslims are weak. Why somebody died with cancer in this hospital? Why these children dying? And some atheists, malahida, they are against Allah, they are insulting Allah and Jibreel and the Rasul 25. I see them in YouTube. They are insulting. They quit Islam. Like these people murtaddeen during the time of Tahwil al-Qibla and the Isra al-Mi'raj. And you're not strong, your iman is not, I want your iman to be like the mountains, rooted, to be steadfast and firm. Some of us who come for Salat al-Isha Jama'ah, we think you are Umar ibn al-Khattab and Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. And then Sheikh became late like 5 minutes, Ya Sheikh, and he's talking 4 hours outside the masjid. Wait, Jama'ah, we talk about the fitna, we talk about the Sahaba, we talk about Musa, Isa, Bani Israel. We'll continue tomorrow, inshallah. We just started the chapter of the spider tonight. Jazakumullah khair.